In this video, we will have a look at the typical example of an asynchronous action, reading from file. We will use Node.js in this video, because browsers cannot read or write data from files on your disk. This is a security concern. In most other videos, we will use a browser. As you may know, some actions in JavaScript are synchronous and some actions are asynchronous. In order to understand the difference between synchronous and asynchronous actions, let's have a look at this simple example. We want to write a script that would print 4 numbers to console, 1, 2, 3, 4. But for the purpose of this specific video, instead of having 4 simple console.log statements in the file, we have got slightly more complicated statements. I created 4 printing functions in this file, 1 function per every number. They are named print1, print2, print3, and print4. At the end of the file, we are invoking those functions. Let's have a look at the definitions of the functions. Print1 function is easy. We are simply assigning 1 to the variable number1 and then printing that variable to the console. Print2 function is slightly more complicated. I have created an additional function that returns 2. Afterwards, I am assigning the result of the function to the number2 variable and then print that variable to the console. This is quite a strange way of printing a number, but I am doing this just for the purpose of this video, in order for you to better understand the difference between synchronous and asynchronous actions. With print3 function, things become even more complicated. We are reading number 3 from an external file, which is called numbers3.txt, and then print the contents of that file to the console. This is the file we are going to read from. This file contains only 1 line, and on this line we have just number 3. This line here imports a module called fs, which is required in order to be able to read from files. And this line here actually reads the contents of the file. ReadFile is a method of the module fs, and it has 3 arguments: a path to the file, file encoding, and a callback. Our file is located inside the same directory, so we just specify /numbers3.txt. Encoding is UTF-8, which simply means that our file contains normal human-readable text. We are passing another function as the third argument to the fs.read file. This function is called a callback. It will be invoked when fs.readFile function will actually receive the contents of the file. The contents of that file will be passed as an argument to this callback. Our callback in this case will actually receive 2 arguments. First argument is error if there is one, and the second argument is the actual contents of the file. With print4 function, things become easy again. We simply assign number 3 to the variable and then print that variable to the console. Now let's run our script in the terminal and see what happens. We are getting all 4 numbers printed to the console, but the order for the numbers is wrong for some reason. We are getting 1, 2, 4, 3 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. So number 3 comes at the end. But why? In the next video we will see why this happens.